What's up, everybody? Tyson Roush, Let's Talk Jets. Hope everybody's having an excellent weekend. If you're looking for the weather update, yes, it is still cold and I'm still miserable. But other than that, things are going well. And the New York Jets, after a weird 24 hours, have hired their next general manager, Darren Mougey, I think is how you say it, from the Denver Broncos. He's been with them since 2012. He went from a scout to director of scouting to director of pro personnel to assistant general manager. What his roles and responsibilities were within the organization, we generally don't know. I know that Sean Payton gave him a huge, support, which is great. And you look at the Sean Payton, Bill Parcells, Aaron Glenn tie, it's all one big happy family. They all help each other. So that's got to make you feel good where they have that connection. Other than that, if you're looking at how you put together this front office, let's not forget, before Joe Douglas was fired, Hogan was fired and Alexander was gone too. So this front office is pretty much understaffed, so you need to bring in a bunch of guys to fill in roles, especially a cap guy, like a contract specialist. And I'm hoping it's senior people, experienced people. I don't think Phil Savage is probably going to stick around, but maybe it's Tannenbaum or somebody else. But you got to bring in high-level senior executives that have been there, done that, to help this young regime move forward. As for Aaron Glenn, a hire that got mixed emotions. His press conferences on Monday, and it seemed like a good portion of fans are excited. A lot of former players are excited. They want to attend it. There's a lot of really good energy surrounding this hire, which I know doesn't mean anything, but in terms of excitement, people wanted Rex Ryan for all the hysteria, all the chaos. I think you're going to see that same kind of that fire and energy from Glenn. It's going to get you motivated. But again, with him, it's how he puts together his staff. And it's interesting to see people talking about all these young hotshot coordinators, and I get it. But for me, my concern is this. If you hire a young, innovative guy for this year, he could be a one and done. And then the Jets quarterback of the future is probably going to have a new coordinator in 2 years from now, where maybe if you get a guy with a little bit older, not as highly touted, but an experienced guy that's not climbing the ranks so far, he may be here 3 or 4 years. So you have that continuity and stability, because if you bring Aaron Rodgers back next year, the coordinator is going to be like a 1 year guy for Aaron Rodgers, and then what? In year 2, if he does well, he's going to be gone. Then you need the coordinator again. So you worry about the revolving door at the coordinator position when you have a defensive-minded first-time head coach. So that's something to keep an eye on. Another hire that's very, very important is the offensive line coach. A lot of really good ones out there. I'm curious to see the names that are approached. You see a lot of former coaches that work for Parcells or work for Payton, which to me personally, I'm a huge Parcells fan. I'm an older fan. I love the way they handled the game of football. I'm a huge Sean Payton fan. These guys are kind of hard-ass, hard-nosed, all about winning, all about team first. If you bring in guys that follow that mantra, that's exactly what this team needs. Now, obviously, if we're being completely transparent here, one of our biggest fears going into this hiring cycle was you don't want a first-time head coach paired with a first-time general manager. The Jets have done exactly that. Now, and then you look at how the hiring went down. You hired Glenn before Mougey, not ideal either. So there's a lot of risk here. There's no guarantees. I'm hoping that Aaron Glenn, where he uses Parcells as a resource and other guys like Belichick and Pete Carroll, where he has a really good idea how to put together a staff and what his vision is in terms of we need a blueprint for legitimate success and a rebuild to change the culture and change the mindset of his team. And you can't be flooded with inexperience and guys learning on the fly. So the next 48 to 72 hours will be very interesting to see the names that are going to be mentioned and who gets hired. But overall, I'm excited, man. Like, you can't sit and be miserable every day and be like, this sucks, same old Jets, solid 2.0, it's never going to change. I can't be that guy. We're going to do a call-in show on Monday. If you call in and say that, I'm just going to not be interested, man, because life's too short. We're Jet fans, man. You have to hope that the Jets finally got it right with one of our own. Like, you watch the highlight videos of Aaron Glenn, you see, I was one of my favorite players of all time. Doesn't mean shit as a head coach, I know, but like, if there was a guy to root for more than anybody else, it's 1,000% this guy. So we'll see what happens. I pinned on our homepage my interview with Aaron Glenn that I did about 4 years ago while he was a member of the Saints. The audio is kind of sketchy because it was a phone line conversation, but pretty interesting. He said some cool things about how his mindset is, which coaching a team. But other than that, we're here. It's a new era of Jets football. It can be exciting if you make it, if you allow it to be, or if you want to be miserable, then just be miserable. But then it's not really much fun being a fan then. So we'll see what happens. You'll get the live reaction on Monday from the press conference. I expect it to be a very inspiring one. We all walk away like, all right, This is something we could buy into. Obviously, you can talk about it all you want, and the slogans are great, but you got to show it on the field. But I think you're going to see some really hard-nosed decisions and like a little mindset change this organization, which is desperately needed. The one thing you worry about with all this newness is I want to see the hierarchy of the team. Which way does the head coach report to the owner, to the general manager? How does that work? And you wish there was a buffer between Woody Johnson and Mougey and Glenn, whether it's a director of football operations or whatever else. I don't like Woody having any kind of say over all these guys that are inexperienced. I hope there is some pushback and there's a barrier put up. Other than that, have a great weekend. I'll talk to you on Monday.